Let's just start. Hello guys, one more time and welcome to Ring Royalty. My name is Alexis, as you already know, and today another 2-for-1 special when it comes to reviews, because I'm going to talk about SummerSlam 2021 as well as Takeover 36. Sorry for the eye bags, by the way, I haven't been able to sleep that much lately. I am here to criticize, actually heavily criticize, what just happened this past weekend. I am sure a lot of people are really mad about what happened on Saturday, just like I am right now. So without any further to say, let's start with the reviews. On Saturday we had SummerSlam and there were 3 women's matches. The first one was Alexa Bliss, accompanied by Lily, I guess, against Eva Marie, accompanied by Doudrop. I was worried about this match ever since it got announced, and I thought it would be on the pre-show, but surprisingly it was on the main show. And I just don't understand why. If you think about it, Alexa Bliss basically is really interesting because of her shenanigans. She's just a character-based wrestler at the moment, while Eva Marie is just Eva Marie. So this match on paper seemed to be a recipe for disaster, and it actually was. Awful match, very slow pace. Eva Marie was very awkward in the ring. Maybe she was rusty because this is her first real match back, I guess. Nothing interesting. Eva Marie slapped Lily a couple times, then Alexa screamed. There were no shenanigans in this match, and that surprised me a lot. I was expecting for something supernatural to happen, as we're used to in Alexa Bliss matches, but no, we got nothing. I mean, that could have saved the match, but it didn't happen. Don't remind me how bad this was, honestly. I can't believe what I'm gonna say, but Eva Marie slapping Alexa Bliss with Lily was the highlight of this match. We all knew that Eva Marie isn't a great wrestler, but Alexa Bliss, sorry if you hate me for this, but she isn't the best wrestler. She's decent in the ring, but she's nowhere near the caliber of a great wrestler to carry a match, especially with someone as talentless at wrestling like Eva Marie. It was 5 minutes of pure awkwardness inside the ring. Fans barely reacted. Lily got a great pop. I mean, that's something at least. Alexa Bliss picked up the win after a DDT after 5 painful minutes. And that's how the match ended. Then Doudrop finally got the mic and announced the loser was Eva Marie. And that was probably the most entertaining part of this whole segment. At least Doudrop got some reactions. It wasn't that big of a pop, but at least someone reacted to her. She's really talented. I am really hoping that Doudrop finally gets a singles push on the main roster. I mean, first of all, why the hell is her name Doudrop? I never got a chance to talk about this, but why they got rid of Piper Niven? Like, the name was so good, and now we have Doudrop, a Pokemon. I think it was a Pokemon that was called Doudrop, Doudrio, or something like that, so awful name. Overall, terrible match, nothing interesting, crowd wasn't really invested on it. For me, this should have been a squash match. Maybe Alexa Bliss coming inside the ring and beating Eva Marie in under a minute, so we would get the Doudrop segment afterwards, and that wouldn't have been as terrible as what we got. Having this real match feel wasn't appropriate for these 2 wrestlers, especially without any type of supernatural powers from Alexa Bliss inside the match. I was very, very uncomfortable watching this match because it didn't really feel like an actual match. It was just there. The second match of the night was supposed to be Bianca Belair against Sasha Banks for the Smackdown Women's Championship. This was the match I was the most hyped about. And there were a lot of rumors that Sasha was not going to make it because of unknown situations. There wasn't a real reason. And that actually happened. Bianca Belair was inside the ring, and then it was announced that Sasha Banks was unable to compete. For me, that was so disrespectful because they were promoting the match even a minute before it got cancelled. So that is so disrespectful, not only for the people watching at home like me, but also for the people in attendance. What happened if they bought a ticket just to see Bianca against Sasha? The audacity of WWE. I mean, they've been doing everything wrong lately, so what can we expect? With Sasha out of the title picture, Carmella was announced as the replacement for Sasha Banks. Most people in the arena were booing, and thus understandably so. And then something great happened. Becky Lynch, the man, returned after over a year of being absent due to pregnancy. The crowd went nuts. It was an insane pop, not as good as CM Punk's pop, I know, because probably someone's going to mention CM Punk in the comments, so I just want to get that out of the way. Becky Lynch attacked Carmella and basically told Bianca that they should tear the house down at Summerslam for the Smackdown Women's Championship. To cut the story short, Carmella's out, Becky's in. The Smackdown Women's Championship match is happening. Or the so-called match lasted 10 seconds. A cheap shot from Becky followed up by the manhandle slam, this type of rock bottom maneuver, was enough to pin Bianca for the 1, 2, 3. Becky Lynch is our new SmackDown Women's Champion, and Bianca Belair, the winner of the Royal Rumble 2021, the winner of the main event at WrestleMania Night 1, was squashed in 10 seconds by Becky Lynch. What was the reason? I don't want to talk about this much longer because it still pisses me off. I'm not over that terrible booking. Becky Lynch's long-awaited return was this: a squash match against probably the hottest female superstar in 2021. The only reason that I think they made this match would be turning Becky Lynch heel. A lot of people were mad, and rightfully so. This is not the way they should have booked Becky Lynch's return. I know they probably wanted to counter CM Punk's return in AEW, but this was not the way. They could have made Bianca Belair face Carmella, even if people were booing, and then just Becky come out after the match. Or even have a triple threat match, so Becky or Bianca could have defeated Carmella, and both of them would still look strong. I am guessing that Becky Lynch probably isn't ready to have like a full-on match. Maybe this was a last-minute replacement because of Sasha's absence, but it still doesn't feel justified to do Bianca this dirty. They did her dirty. There was no other explanation. You're gonna tell me that Bianca Belair has gone through a Hell in a Cell match with Bayley, has gone against Sasha Banks in a 5-star match at WrestleMania, was basically an Iron Woman at the Royal Rumble, entering at number 3 and winning the whole thing, and she was just defeated with one move. It makes absolutely no sense. I know this is not the end of Bianca's push because it would be illogical to do so, but it killed her momentum anyways. And it also tamed Becky Lynch's return because this is not the way most of the fans wanted to see Becky win the championship. If it would have been in a regular match, okay, I have no problem with Becky winning, and I am sure a lot of people wouldn't either. But this way, like girl, this was not the way, and I'm not talking about this anymore. I hope Becky Lynch turns heel and Bianca Belair just gets a rematch, probably winning the title in the process, maybe not in the next pay-per-view, but in a couple months, because this was pure bullshit. There is no other way to describe it, and I don't care if you're a Becky fan, I'm still sure this is not the way you wanted to see Becky win a championship. And after we got robbed to see another 5-star match between Bianca and Sasha to get this unnecessary and ridiculous squash match, we move to the final match of the night when it comes to women. There will be Nikki Ash against Charlotte Flair against Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's Championship. I'm still not used to call Nikki Cross, Nikki Ash, because almost a superhero isn't a thing for me. I mean, I'm not feeling it, but whatever. Before talking about the match, shout out to Charlotte Flair's Thanos-inspired robe. It looked really good. The match was good, don't get me wrong. The match was really good. What really pissed me off about all of this was the crowd. The crowd seemed dead, especially for Nikki. She is the Raw Women's Champion, and a lot of people have been asking WWE repeatedly to build new stars. So now that they have almost a superhero Nikki Cross as the top dog of Raw, you're not going to react to her? So why are you asking for new people to be on top anyways? Like, wrestling fans are really hard to please sometimes. I am not feeling Nikki Cross' new character, to be honest. But at the same time, if I am in audience and I see a wrestler, a performer doing their best to entertain us, at least react to it. Be respectful. This triple threat match was interesting despite the lack of crowd noises or chants. A couple spots that I would highlight obviously would be the German suplex follow-away slam spot, really nice. Also Charlotte's corkscrew moonsault, picture perfect. Charlotte hasn't done this move in over 5 years, can you believe that? I mean, it looks stunning, and finally crowd popped after it. It activated the crowd, which is something that I appreciate. And say what you want about Charlotte, but for me, she carried most of this match, and she was the only woman at SummerSlam that actually delivered for me. I know a lot of Charlotte haters would be done with this, but it is what it is. She's a great talent. And I've been telling you in my past couple of reviews how much I'm liking this new twist that they're giving Charlotte's character. And her wrestling passion seems to be back. She's selling a little bit better. She's still implementing moves into her arsenal, so I am not mad at her at all. There was a false finish when Nikki Ash did a swinging net breaker in the middle of the ring to Charlotte. Only a 2 count. Unsurprisingly, the crowd didn't even react to that because, I mean, it's Nikki Ash and apparently they are not feeling her character either, and that's why they didn't react to anything, absolutely anything she did. At the end of the match, Rhea Ripley got DDT'd by Nikki Ash just for her to be locked in the figure 8 later on and tapping out, making Charlotte a 13-time women's champion, 12-time women's champion. I don't know what happened. They are not counting the NXT and tag team reigns anymore because she should be by now like 20 times women's champion, but whatever. Charlotte Flair is back on top, and there goes Nikki Ash's push. Once again, the Money in the Bank contract was wasted. So done with women not being able to have a memorable Money in the Bank run, and even worse that sometimes the cash in, like this specific moment, are just meaningless. After this match, I am pretty sure that Nikki Ash is going to be sent to the back of the line again just because she got no reaction and there are no rematch clauses anymore. So probably Charlotte Flair will continue feuding with Rhea, or if we're lucky we will get Charlotte against Alexa Bliss. I mean, that would be a little bit interesting since Charlotte can carry a match, but we will see what happens. As for Rhea, she had interesting spots, but I don't remember any of them. To be honest, she was just there. Before the match, I actually thought Nikki Ash would retain by defeating Rhea, so they would keep the Nikki and Charlotte feud going on for longer. Not sure where that's gonna go anymore. I am just praying that Charlotte Flair can have a decent title reign. I think it's time to stop shitting on Charlotte. Apparently, she has become the new Sasha Banks, because she can't defend any championships anymore. Hopefully that would change. This was the end of SummerSlam, the last women's match of the night. I was completely disappointed with everything. I was very hyped before the pay-per-view and I was pissed by the end of it. As for the wrestlers involved, I would say there was more harm than good. I don't see Alexa or Eva benefiting from that crappy match. I don't see Bianca benefiting from the squash match. And I don't see how Rhea Ripley, Nikki Cross, or even Charlotte, since people are tired of her winning championships, could benefit from the triple threat match. So after all of the points previously mentioned, I would declare that SummerSlam was definitely a big ass flop, at least in the women's division. It was so terrible, and the saddest part is that this is probably the second biggest pay-per-view in WWE. To ruin something as big as SummerSlam for all of us women's wrestling fans is something that we are not going to forget in a while. Thankfully, we're finishing the video in a good note because on Sunday we had NXT Takeover 36. There was only one women's match, however, it was better than the 3 previous matches combined because we had Raquel Gonzalez defending the NXT Women's Championship against Dakota, her former best friend. I know this is the usual they used to be best friends storyline, but in this case I actually felt why it happened, and having a reason means a lot in wrestling. The pre-match promo definitely helped a lot to hype the match even more. Both of their looks were so good, they were on point, and the match itself was amazing. NXT never disappoints, especially in takeover matches, and this was no exception. The match was obviously going to be based in the power of the champion Raquel against the speed of the challenger Dakota. and they were so good together. There was a lot of chemistry between these two, and that made the match even better. The flow was so smooth, from Dakota's scorpion kick to block a powerbomb, to the Chingona bombs counter into an armbar, as well as Raquel Gonzalez blocking Dakota's scorpion kick and turning it into a powerbomb later on in the match. Those are great examples of the chemistry these two have. Besides being such a great match wrestling wise, there was also this personal feel to it. Dakota's mind games trying to get inside Raquel's head and how frustrated she became. Raquel Gonzalez is just freakishly strong. It is insane. That power slam throw that she did to Dakota, and also the alley-oop against the top rope. Dakota was mangled in some of these spots, and I am living for it. She also had some good spots herself, like the diving double foot stomp or hitting the Yakuza kick, knocking Raquel Gonzalez out of the ring. And the ending was perfect because Dakota Kai tried to use that kick the same way that she used to betray Raquel, but it was blocked and turned into a top row Chingona bomb. For the 1, 2, 3, Raquel Gonzalez is still our NXT Women's Champion. Awesome outcome. I would have loved to see Dakota Kai as Women's Champion, but I am not mad that Raquel retained because it was a very competitive match, and this was the first time Raquel did a top rope finisher, so it was obviously going to be a huge spot. Not content with that, NXT gave us even something better, because after this monumental match, which is probably the best title defense that Raquel has had ever since she won the championship from Io, we've got Kaylee Ray's NXT debut. She came out and made her presence known. Also got a little stare down with Raquel Gonzalez. Probably she will be next in line for the championship match. I can definitely see Kylie Ray having a banger with Raquel Gonzalez. Also, Kylie Ray was champion of NXT UK for like 1 million years. I know it has to do a lot with the pandemic situation, but nonetheless, they are always highlighting how she was the forever champion, how lengthy her title reign was. So maybe Kylie Ray will be the one dethroning Raquel Gonzalez. I don't see anybody else with enough hype and momentum to actually do it. So we will see what happens. I am really hyped for that match, and I am also very satisfied with what I watched between Raquel and Dakota. This was a great moment for the NXT girls. Not sure if Dakota is getting called up to the main roster. Hopefully not, because she will be ruined like most girls there. And although SummerSlam made me go nuts, and not in a good way, NXT Takeover 36 actually light up the mood and made me feel a little bit better after this weekend of women's wrestling. Hopefully things will get better in the near future, but it's safe to say that NXT is still the best brand for women's wrestling. It has the best booking, the best matches, and you're not going to be able to change my mind even if you try to. Kudos to NXT, and please Raw and Smackdown, let's improve your game. Alright, so these were my reviews for SummerSlam and NXT TakeOver 36. There were a lot of awful moments. Were there some good ones? Yes, they were mostly from NXT, but yeah, there were some cool moments. It wouldn't come as a surprise that this wasn't the best weekend to be a women's wrestling fan. I am pretty sure a lot of people are mad. I already saw different comments on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and I don't blame any of them for being this pissed off. Most of this weekend was trash. And sorry to be that straightforward, but that's what I would call. SummerSlam felt like trash for women's wrestling. But anyway, next week we have NWA's Empower, an all-women's pay-per-view. Not sure if I would review that. Tell me down in the comments if you would like to see a review for NWA Empower. I would admit that I'm really looking forward to see Deonna Purrazzo against Melina, but I'm not sure what are the other matches. I haven't checked the match card yet. I will. But just let me know if you want to see me give my opinion about each of the matches there. This is it for this video. Sadly, it isn't as positive as I thought it would be, but it is what it is, and that's what we got. My name is Alexis, as you already know. Here is my Instagram if you want to contact me or anything, and I will see you guys next time with a new video. Goodbye, stay safe.